So the last video was on the gifts and benefits of aligning with the energy of obedience. And as I was thinking about that, I felt like obedience is truly a virtue or a key to transformation in our life. And as I was thinking that, there are 4 other virtues that I work with on a daily basis that come to me that also enable me to touch and taste and savor that freedom, spiritual freedom even more, to feel the joy of living my truth passionately. And I just want to share those other 4 virtues with you and my process around them, and the intention that you too can reap the benefits and to experiment with them, to experiment and to see what kind of results are created. So the first virtue was obedient, the obedient action, being listening, really listening to your heart, listening to what you really want, who you really are, and then having the courage to face the things that are standing in your way and to really put action into what it is that you want to create. Everything is possible that's there. The second virtue is the virtue of tolerance, to practice tolerance. And what do I mean by tolerance? Tolerance means I am willing to accept that I am the full spectrum of humanity, that I am light and dark, that I am sad and elated, that I am everything in between, that we are the full spectrum of human experience. And if I can be tolerant, if I can accept just what is in the moment, just what arises in the moment, without attaching to it, without needing it to be my identity, without creating this meaning around it, simply tolerating what it is, then we find freedom to change. We find freedom to move and to shift in what is. And also then extending that tolerance to other people, to other human beings, realizing that people may come at you and they may project their negativity onto you, or their anger, frustration, whatever it is, and simply being tolerant to the fact that just like you, just like everyone else, they are coping their best with what they believe to be true in them. And if it's something negative that they can't accept, then they project that out. And so in the tolerance and the willingness to accept someone else just as they are, you liberate yourself to be unaffected, to be unreactionary in their projection, and to respond in a very clear and profound way in the moment, that's what's possible. And you're also freeing them, that you can see them clearly for who they are and not what you need them to be, or not how they've triggered you. So the third virtue is the energy of surrender. And surrender is very closely connected with tolerance. It's this ability to simply say, I don't need to fight. I don't know. Maybe I don't know the answer, or if I do know the answer, I don't need to prove it to anyone. I surrender fully. And the best way to surrender to the moment, to come home to yourself, to what's true, is by breathing, focusing on that breath, just breathing and surrendering down into the present moment, because it is in the moment that everything exists. All of the answers, all the solutions, everything are right here in the moment. And through your surrender, you can directly experience that. The next virtue is the virtue of wisdom. And wisdom is what you find in your willingness to surrender and to be tolerant and to be obedient to the truth of yourself. You begin to discover that we have this innate wisdom, this guiding force in ourselves, this second nature, this common sense, if you will, of how to treat others, how to treat ourselves, how to engage with the world in a joyful way. It's already right there inside of you, and it's a really natural place to be when we allow that wisdom to come out. And the last virtue that I have here, although there are many others, is that of generosity, the gift of giving. When you feel down and out, when you feel not enough, when you feel lost and out, most people relate to this with their finances, with money. I can't afford it. I don't have that. I can't afford it. But in order to bring in the truth of abundance, the truth of who we really are, which is this wisdom, is to ask yourself, what is it that I have to give today? And maybe it has absolutely nothing to do with money, but if we think of money as being a currency, an energy exchange, then what is the currency that you live in? How is it that you can give what you have? For me, in a time when I didn't have a lot of finances, I ask myself, what is it that I have to give? And what I have to give is my presence and my attention and my love and my intuitive gifts and my ability to listen and to hear. Even the tiniest little things that show up in your life, how is it that you can be in the state of giving and just coming into that state of generosity, that I am connected to this endless supply of nourishment that I can give from. You create a vacuum in that giving, and it's kind of like a siphon in science class. Once you give, that which you give is immediately replaced as the flow of the universe comes in, as you become aligned with that flow. So in order to give, you must receive, and one is not separate from the other, that they're actually right there together. So moving into a state of generous, always able to be generous, and as you are generous, you then receive everything you need to continue to be in that. Now, this doesn't mean giving from a place of deficiency. I'm giving and giving and giving in order to get validation, in order to get money, in order to get safety, right? That kind of giving is exhausting and really runs us down and depletes us quite rapidly. And so that's how we know in those moments we need to give to ourselves. We need to be generous with our time of what we need to come back into a place of harmony with ourselves, and then able to come into authentic generosity in life, which is always unconditional. Always unconditional. And yes, we're rewarded for it, and perhaps we get paid or we get certain benefits, but that is our ability to naturally receive those benefits because we know it is enabling us to continue this flow of prosperity and generosity in our lives. So try these virtues on, experiment with them a little bit in your life, and I would love to hear how it goes. Maybe pick one day to focus on generosity, another day to focus on wisdom, another day to focus on surrender to the moment, another day to focus on tolerance and obedience. And I would love to hear your feedback of how this impacts your daily life and how it also impacts others.